The P2B Tsunami, APC and PDP are underwritten. Welcome to the news and thank you for tuning in to listen. Former Anambra State Governor P2B is inspiring a powerful social media-enabled youth-led political tidal wave that will radically change the contours of the election in 2023. But the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party operatives, still inebriated with the overconfidence of the size and deep pockets of their parties, are sniggering at the suggestion that P2B Labour Party will change the game next year. They comfort themselves with a mantra that there are no polling booths on social media where P2B devotees form noisy cyber silos. Well, there is no opponent more dangerous than an underestimated one. People who are habituated to the policies of a past may dismiss it, but something fundamental novel is happening. There is an unstoppably growing corpse of fire-up young and not-so-young people who are investing their time, energy and emotions in P2B. We have seen spectacular spikes in this PVC registration and increase in offline political mobilization, all thanks to him. Three factors appear to be driving this one. There is mass disillusionment with the quality and character of the presidential candidate of the two major parties. They are the same woefully similar, recycled, unimaginative, self-interested, careerist politicians who are deeply invested in sustaining the dysfunctions that keep Nigeria in the twilight zone between life and death. They mount the same fly-bone cliches, cannot articulate any grand visions, are indistinguishable from past leaders, from past politicians, have no commitment to any grand ideals, and are in politics to steal and dispense favors to cronies. P2B seems to be different. He comes across as down-to-earth, self-aware, committed to transparency and demystification of governance, and as someone who invests considerable intellectual energies into thinking about and offering solutions to Nigeria's problems. I am dubious of the facticity of some of his more self-righteous, messianistic claims and suspect that he sometimes hyperbolizes some of his anecdotes about his time as Anambra State Governor to gain the applause of his audience. As a scholar of rhetorical studies, I know that writers can sometimes feel an obligation not to not violate the expectation of their captive audiences by telling stories that their audiences want to hear. Even this means bending or sexing up the fact a little bit. Nonetheless, compared to Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu, P2B is a breath of fresh air. The second impetus for the dramatic surge in Obi's political profile is religious. Many Christians in both the South and the North feel excluded from the presidential ticket of the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party. Churches all across Nigeria are drumming support for him. I think this is legitimate in the interest of representational justice, particularly because Obi is not some pastor with a predetermined agenda to advance narrow religious or sectarian causes. Although Obi is a devout Catholic, he is thorough secular and based on some of his speeches I've watched, has a deep understanding of the imperative of separating the sacred and the profane in the business of governance. The third driver of his popularity is Igbo, resentment and systematic political exclusion. In my April 2nd, 2022 column titled Why Nigeria Needs an Igbo President in 2023, I wrote, the Igbos are almost in the same spot that the Yorubas were in 1998. There is mass resentment among them. Several of them feel emotionally disconnected from Nigeria, and we all know why. Apart from the fact that they have never produced a president or vice president since 1999, Muhammadu Buhari has done an extremely poor job of husbanding Nigerians' intrinsic diversity. The sense of alienation that a vast swath of Igbo people feel now has made several of them, particularly their youth, susceptible to the murderous wiles of the mentally and emotionally disturbed mountebank called Nnamdi Kanu. Some of the secessionist oxygen that sustained Biafra agitation has now been redirected to P2B. Nnamdi Kanu has now been pushed to the back on the back burner. While some people have put a negative spin to this, I think it is a golden opportunity. It shows that an Igbo presidency will solve the secessionist agitation and the violence in the southeast. For me, that is a worthwhile reward. Incidentally, in the April 2nd column, P2B is one of the 2 Igbo people I recommended as candidate for the presidency. The other was Kingsley Moghalu, who sadly lost the primary election of his party. I wrote the second is P2B. In a March 25, 2022 article titled P2B applying to be driver of a knocked out car, I mentioned that listening to his speeches has captured my imagination. He appears to have a handle on Nigeria's problem, and what I've read of his record as governor of Anambra State inspires some confidence that he is not just a talker. I cannot speak to his cosmopolitanism and commitment to seeing all of Nigeria as his constituency. That is up to voters to find out. If Obi's political momentum holds steady until February next year, and the election is free and fair, I predict that he will cause a runoff. If he leads with the youth, Igbo and Christian votes, I know there is an overlap in the categories. He will upset both the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party to the point that none of them can win in the first round of the presidential election. If he does not qualify or win to participate in the runoff, whoever he supports will be the winner. So, an intelligent political party will not antagonize him or his supporters just yet. But there are dangers for Obi, though, should he somehow defeat the structural impediments on his way to become president. First, his devotees call themselves obedient and demand obedience to him. That is horrible. There will be worse than Buhari BM's trolls. What is needed in democracy is critical citizenship and not obedience. Obedience in democracy suggests the surrender of one's critical faculty, which is precisely what Buharism is. Obi's rise to political stardom is propelled by anger at the political establishment. That is the literal definition of populism. Populism instrumentalizes anger for the politics without being able to transform the lives of the angry in any meaningful way. Obi's devotees imagine him to embody the solutions to Nigeria's problem and expect him to wave the magic wand and make them disappear, as he himself admitted in a previous public appearance. Nigerian problems are structural and systematic and cannot be solved with a mere change of the personnel in the corridors of power. Now, let me remind you people, the last sentence. He comes into power does not mean it will happen within a flash. Obi is not a magician. So that in the next 2-4 years, nobody will come and say you go do this. Nigeria has been plunged 50 years backward. To carry on 50 years forward, take to go down and to go up, it is different. I'm saying this so that nobody will be saying they're feeling disappointed. Work needs to be done, plenty work. In fact, anybody who is genuine will go in and work, and still yet people go talk say no they work, because waiting they do now for under. Before you go see them, you go take time. I hope so we know. On this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time, enjoy the rest of your day.